All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Andrew Gawasak. He's the president of TrustStamp. And Andrew, it's good to have you along again. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me again, Steve.
Yeah, good to have you along. And also joining our conversation is Carl Falk. He's the CEO of BotDoc. And Carl, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Interesting combination between these two companies, Andrew. Talking about the automotive industry, which is, and I'm sure a lot of people are unfamiliar with the fact that there's security lapses within that industry.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, Steve. As we've been looking at new industries to enter into, automotive really stood out because, like a lot of industries that are going through a digital transformation and with more and more of the car buying process moving online, you're seeing an increase in fraud. Just as an example, in automotive lending, there's been a 98% growth in synthetic identity fraud attempts. And we took that as a pretty clear signal that sector is in need of innovative identity solutions like TrustStamp.
Yeah, and there it leads to this partnership with BotDoc. Tell me about the reasoning behind your company wanting to work with BotDoc.
Sure. So there's really a twofold reason. So I was really excited to talk about this partnership because, as I mentioned in my H1 update, they provide TrustStamp accessibility to industries with simplified integration to customers and prospects without requiring us to expand our headcount. And I'm excited that we get to partner with BotDoc because, I've known Carl and his team for several years, and we share a commitment to putting security and privacy first. We've met periodically over the years, and he's shared stories with me about growing fraud rates. And I remember what really caught my attention was a story about fraudsters using Telegram to advertise their fake ID service, where as long as you paid them $500 and sent them a headshot with a gray or white background, they said they could get you any car for under $60,000 delivered to your home address. And after seeing how, the bad guys are working together to beat conventional fraud protections, it really convinced me that, we need to work together in order to stop them.
Yeah, Carl, tell me a bit about the origins of BotDoc.
Yeah, so BotDoc, we're a cybersecurity software company, and we were actually our software is BotDoc was actually inadvertently invented. We were building something totally different, and like a lot of companies, sometimes you find something unique in what you did. And a handful of years ago, we pivoted the entire company just to focus on BotDoc, and it's basically end-to-end encryption between either two people or a system and a person, without the need for pins, passwords, logins, all the challenging, frustrating things that most people think about when they think about, oh, it's got to be secure when I send something or receive something. So that was really the genesis. We grew up in the financial space. That's where we originally had met with Andrew and his team in different areas. And given the new financial regulations and FTC regulations that are being pushed on automotive, as you can imagine, we got pulled in as that industry tried to figure out what cybersecurity was. We got pulled in a couple of years ago into automotive.
And Carl, what sort of growth is the company seeing?
Great question, Steve. I can tell you last year we saw over 300% growth in the company from a revenue standpoint. A lot of that coming from the automotive space, given that there's a lot of focus there right now. And honestly, given, in the local news or in the national news just over the last month, one of the largest software providers, CDK Global, was offline for almost 3 weeks because of a ransom attack. So, things are heating up in that space. And, even the use of our software, we've seen, a 20x, increase over the last 12 months. And I think that really shows not just the demand for the technology, but also the interest in the automotive space of wanting to be secure and also compliant.
Yeah. And did you feel that TrustStamp's technology was just a perfect fit for what you were trying to do as well when it relates to this particular industry?
We did. We've used there are other technologies in automotive that have been, kind of staples for many, many years. And they're good, but they also are not making advances into, the changing times. And that's where, Andrew and I had talked I think originally it was at a conference. We saw each other and caught up, and I think he was very intrigued about, the auto industry at the time, and given that relationship, that's where this new partnership is kind of grew out of.
Yeah. Andrew, these partnerships are really important because while your technology is very strong, they obviously had a technology that mirrored together makes it even better. And the criminals are getting more sophisticated. And I think that you've talked about in the past is that technology has to get more sophisticated in those trying to combat that.
Absolutely. And while we look to improve security, again, it's always critical to make sure that privacy is enhanced as well. As Carl mentioned, they bring, end-to-end encryption, and obviously, TrustAmp is a privacy first company. And so we think security has to come with privacy as well. And so that was, part of the reason that we decided to partner together.
Well, it's an exciting partnership and obviously a need when you talk about the numbers that you shared with us a little bit earlier. So, Carl, thanks very much for giving us a little insight into BotDoc. Very fascinating company, and congratulations on this collaboration.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. There's Carl Falk, CEO of BotDoc. And as always, Andrew, thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. Andrew Gowansack, the president of TrustAmp.